Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Faculty of Education, a live broadcast of questions and answers. My name is Agatha Libete, and I am the program coordinator for the foundation phase education program. I'm also a faculty staff member, and I lecture in mathematics education for the foundation phase. This evening I'm joined by my colleagues, and I will get them to introduce themselves.
Good evening, everyone. Molweni. My name is Dr. Kudzai Tarisai. I'm the BEd Intermediate Phase Coordinator. Welcome to the Faculty of Education.
Hi everyone, my name is Zoe Grace Bennett. I am a final year foundation phase student and I am the chairperson of the Education Student Committee at Stellenbosch University's Faculty of Education.
So I think it's important that we have a student representative, because I think that there are questions that you'd prefer to ask and pose to Zoe, and she'll be able to give you a completely different perspective on life within our faculty. So let's see, let's hope some questions arrive. And you know what, this is quite exciting because we already got some questions. So let's have a look. Chase, good evening, Chase. Chase says, as someone who's completing the Cambridge International Curriculum and rewriting my AS levels, when can I expect an offer from Stellenbosch, as my final results only come out in Jan?
Okay, I think I'll take that one.
Okay.
Okay, since you are doing the Cambridge curriculum, what you need to do, you're going to apply using your grade 11 results. Then by the time that you get your results in January, you will be in a position to make to accept your offer. So in the meantime, we are going to give you a provisional offer based on your grade 11 results. Since you have asked something which is related to the Cambridge curriculum, what I might also need to add is when it comes to the Cambridge curriculum, you might not meet the language requirement, because basically what we have in the Faculty of Education, the expectation is you need 2 languages from the 3 that we offer, that is English, Afrikaans, and isiXhosa. So in your case, admission will be based on basically 1 language within the Cambridge curriculum. So we are looking forward to having you on campus.
Yep, I think that covers it. Chase, I hope you're happy with that response. I've got another question from Ruby James, who says, do I have to write the MBTs to get accepted into Stellenbosch University, or are the MBTs not compulsory if I study BEd?
Okay, perfect. So this is actually a conversation that we had quite recently. We just had our open day on the 20th of April, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a question that was posed by parents as well. So at the Faculty of Education, we do not take NBTs into account. So for education, foundation phase or intermediate phase, you do not have to write your NBTs unless there is some sort of cross line with your languages, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, just to add something in relation to the NBT, you can only go that route if you don't meet the language requirement. Let's say that you're passionate about teaching, you're passionate about the classroom, you tick all the other boxes that we are going to discuss later, then you have a stumbling block, which is the language requirement. So you need to go through the NBT so that you are assessed in terms of your competence in either Afrikaans or English. So there is another route, that is if you don't meet the language requirement. We are going to explain it in detail further.
Okay, now we've got a really unusual question.
Okay.
And I must admit, I didn't expect it at all. And it says, hello, my question is, how do you become a lecturer? Thank you for that question. I think that there are many different routes to becoming a lecturer, and I think each one of the faculty staff members have had different routes into education. There are quite a few of us that have been that taught in schools. So we've been teachers. So we did a B.Ed, and then we did further studies. And the further studies are important. And you need at least a master's degree to enter and be a lecturer. But you also need to want to enjoy working within a higher education institution. You must be interested in doing research. And I think that just continuous love for learning needs to be there. So I think let's just start small. I'm glad you're aiming high. That's what we want. We want these kinds of students.
Yes.
So doing a B.Ed in either foundation phase, which means that you're interested in teaching grade R to grade 3, or you decide, I can't handle those little ones, Zoe? And Zoe is registered for a B.Ed foundation phase, and she's in a final here. The other choice of program is your B.Ed foundation intermediate phase, and that will allow you to teach from grade 4 to grade 6. Do you have anything to add about becoming a lecturer?
Okay, thank you for that question. Maybe one way of answering that question is just by sharing my story, because basically, if you take the route of going via the schools, then you decide that maybe I might contribute more by going into higher education. So now, instead of focusing on the 50 learners that you have in class, you will have an opportunity to teach, to train 500 students. Then you multiply them by the classes that they are going to. So it's a way of increasing your influence. I'm actually happy that we have people who have vision. They are not only looking at what is going to happen in 2025. You are looking at what is going to happen after you've completed your B.Ed. There are opportunities within the faculty. You can proceed to honors, then you go to masters and PhD. We are there to support you so that you join the team.
Okay, now there's another question. That's from Marta Lisa. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. And says, good evening, I'm currently in my second year at another university, and I applied to do my third and fourth year in Stellenbosch for foundation phase. How can I expect the process to work for accepting as well as the next 2 years to go? So when you apply, we have to very, very carefully examine and look at the modules that you've done. We also need to look at the credit bearing or the credit weighting of each of the modules. And even more importantly, we need to look at the NQF level of the module. So each and every lecturer in the foundation phase will assess your modules. So, for example, I will have a look at your mathematics education modules. It's quite a difficult process because you need an 80 to 90% correlation in terms of the modules and the content of the modules. So, in your application, you will need to submit an academic transcript as well as quite thorough definitions and of the modules or the program entirely, what you've done. It might mean that you don't get credit for almost all of your modules in second year. So it might mean that there are some first year modules that you will have to redo or have to go back to our first year, which is also a likelihood. So it's not that easy. It's possible, but not that easy to transfer from institution to institution.
Okay, so what I can add is you need to submit your application. Allow us time to go over your documents. So if you are planning to join us in 2025, I would encourage you to start the application process right away so that we have time to go over all the modules that you have covered. That does not only apply to the foundation phase, it also applies to the intermediate phase. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you have covered ICT at one university, you automatically get credit at Stellenbosch University. We need to verify everything so that we know that you tick all the boxes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So please have patience with us when it comes to that. Then from Sia, Sia Lloyd says, good evening. I want to know the chances of being accepted in Stellenbosch with a level 3 in mathematical literacy. I'm upgrading my results and will come back early week in August. So, Sia, I suggest that you go to the education faculty website. I think it's important that you study the website, find your way around, and on the website will be, if you click on, I think there's a section that says how to apply, and that will explain to you what the entry requirements are, because you need to meet the entry requirements for your languages as well as your mathematics, and then overall you need 60% pass rate. Now, I'd like to say to everybody that please do not try to go for the minimum entry requirement, okay? The students that apply to Stellenbosch, to the education faculty, their marks are incredible. So, you know, it's a healthy competition, but if you want to get accepted, your marks need to be really good, okay? So you might meet the minimum requirement, and that doesn't automatically mean that you will get accepted. Kutsai, is there anything else?
Okay, so on the website, you will discover that the minimum entry requirement is 60%. But due to competition, like if I'm going to share with you, in 2023, we had a lot of applications, and we ended up with taking students who were slightly over 75%. So what we are trying to encourage you to do is don't aim for the 60%. If you can go for over 90%, just make sure that you excel in your studies. Then you don't need to look at the minimum requirements, because every year we go through a selection process. There is competition. We try to make sure that everything goes. In fact, it's not like we try. We always prioritize merit. So since it's a selection degree, go for over 80%, then you secure your place at Stellenbosch University.
Okay, Zoe, do you want to try this one? Do you accept someone with a level 2 maths lit who wants to study education?
Okay, so whether you're studying mathematical literacy or pure math, it does not matter for our education degree. We consider and we look at both mathematics literacy and pure math. So, yeah.
But you need, I think, a 60%.
Yeah, 60%. The
That's
minimum
right.
requirements.
The minimum requirement, so you won't pay, minimum requirement is 60%.
Yeah, but like Dr. T and Aggie did mention, don't just go for the 60%.
Yes.
Go much higher.
Okay, let's see. Got loads of questions. This is quite interesting. So there's another question. What percentage or symbol of maths is required in order to qualify for foundation phase? So for pure maths, if I'm correct, I think it's 40%.
40%.
If you did maths lit, then you need 60%. Note, minimum requirement to enter. Okay, here's another question. How do I go about sending my upgraded results? Should I get rejected? From Cheho. There's a very careful system on our Sun student application, on our application portal. You have to just upload all your documents, and you will get notification, hey Zoe? And if you are successful, you will be informed. Okay, you'll get conditional acceptance based on your grade 11 marks, and then you have to submit once you've written your matric, you will then submit your final matric results.
Yeah. Just on that note as well, something that students often miss with the application is that after they've applied and they get their provisional acceptance, you get a student number. So the university communicates to you via your Outlook email.
That's
so
right.
it would be your student number at sun.ac.za, and that email address is where they will send you all communication regarding final acceptance, regarding if you need to submit any other documentation or anything like that. So just do take note of that, because often at the beginning of the year, when our newcomer students come to campus and they come to university, they have no clue what Outlook is. They have no clue whatsoever what's going on about documents that's outstanding or anything like that. So it's the student number that they provide you at sun.ac.za.
That's right. Now, there's another question that says, I'd like to know when more or less we get feedback on our applications after we have submitted. So applications close on the 30th of July, 2024. Then there's quite an intensive and rigorous procedure and process. I think you will only know, we do it at different times. Okay, so it's not just one date and we send out letters, conditional acceptance. So I think this can happen from September, October, at least. Okay, so round about September, October, in this year, you will get notified. All right, let me try another question, because there are loads of them. Can I enroll for a B.Ed with a diploma pass at high school? So I think we've spoken about the entry requirements already. You must have a bachelor's in order to apply for the B.Ed, minimum requirement. Is there something you wanted to say, Kutsai?
Okay, maybe another way of explaining the minimum requirements is you need to have 60%. That's supposed to be your average. So if you feel, if you think that you might have a chance, or you have other specific needs, maybe you need to send an email to the university so that we attend to your situation case by case. But basically, you need to have your 60% so that you can be considered.
That's right. Now, there's another question from Jolene, who says, I have to apply this year, 8th of April, for education. It's over 14 days. Must I still wait or be concerned? If you've applied, you are going to wait until a couple of months, Jolene. So you're not going to get an answer right now because the application is still open. So people are still applying, and you have until the 30th of July in order to do that. So you won't hear anything until then. I'm very sorry. There's another question. Do they look at your APS score or also your grade 11 average? Definitely your grade 11 average, without a doubt.
Yeah, because when you apply with your end of grade 11 results.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Here's someone that says, I did the IEB. Does that mean I need to do NBTs to get accepted? No, because as long as the languages meet the requirement of what we do at Stellenbosch, which Kudzai has already mentioned, then I don't think you don't need to do the NBTs. So we accept IEB curriculum as well as the NSC.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
So maybe you have just explained the language policy in passing. I just want to take us back to the language policy. So when it comes to the Faculty of Education at Stellenbosch University, what we do, we are guided by the policy of the Western Cape. So we have 3 languages that we prepare our students to teach in. So you need to have any of the 2 languages that I'm going to mention: English, Afrikaans, or isiXhosa. So when it comes to the first 2 languages, you need to use those languages when you do your first year, your second year. When you get to the 3rd year, you are now expected to start working on your 3rd language so that you can be able to communicate in the 3rd language. So Basically, what we are trying to do, or what we do within the Faculty of Education, it's an opportunity for you to learn a new language. Let's say you did your matric and you're exposed to only 2 languages. By the time that you leave Stellenbosch University, the Faculty of Education, you should be able to teach in 2 languages. Then the 3rd language, you should be able to communicate. Just like what I did when I greeted you, I tried to include all the 3 languages. That's one of the things that I've learned here at Stellenbosch University within the Faculty of Education.
Okay, another question. I'd like to know if I applied for the Elsenburg campus. Am I eligible to apply for NAFSAs? I suggest that you go online and look at and find our bursary application procedure and process, and please send them an email to see if you qualify for NAFSAs, and then for the Elsenburg, for that particular course that you want to do. So this is the Faculty of Education. So I'm not sure what program of study you're interested in. Okay, let's take, because we've got loads of questions. If I don't meet the requirement by 10 or 20%, are there any programs that the university offers to improve the marks? I'm so sorry, but we don't have a bridging program. We don't offer a bridging program. Our program is over 4 years, and I think that we have structured our program in such a way that we support students, I think, quite well in their study, especially in their first year. So I'm sorry, if you don't meet it by 10 or 20%, you cannot apply. You won't meet the requirement. So I'm very sorry about that, Llewellyn. Sorry.
If I could just comment on that.
Yeah.
Within the Faculty of Education, we do have a sector or department rather called Schemati. So that is for the improvement of a math and science mark. So that is more if you want to go into a math and science program.
Yes.
They are part of our faculty. However, I don't think that really affects education students as much. But like Aggie said, unfortunately, there are no bridging programs if you do not make the requirement.
That's right.
Okay,
So
just one more comment. We are still in May. Then you're already talking about missing the target by 10 marks.
Absolutely.
So I'm just here to encourage you that there's still time for you to work towards achieving more than 60%.
Yeah.
We are in May, and the school system is there to support you. But in the event that you don't meet, then we can apply the advice that you have just shared with you. But for now, let's encourage you to work towards 70%.
Okay, there are lots of, I want to get through as many of the questions. There are loads. So Nadia says, I'd like to incorporate psychology with my B.Ed. Do I take it as an extra module? So we're laughing. We do get this question often. And we've just had this question at our open day as well. So we do have students that decide to take, so our faculty, we don't offer psychology, okay? So you will have to do that elsewhere. I do want to say that our program is quite compact.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to balance extra modules. So I think you need to think about this very carefully. However, saying that, there are students, and there aren't many, who decide to do psychology from their first year already, or from second year at least, so that by fourth year you have Psych 3.
Yeah.
I'd suggest not doing it in your first year. Okay, let me take another question. Okay, another question, that if you choose to do teaching, don't you pick 2 subjects to specialize in? And if, then why aren't we given that option when applying online? If you have applied for the foundation phase, we are trained to be generalists. So we have to teach the languages, we have to teach mathematics, and we have to teach life skills. We do not have an option. So we have to teach you to specialize in all of that. And then, of course, there are the prerequisites and supporting modules that we have. So if you have applied for the foundation phase, you don't have a choice. However, Kudzai, for the intermediate phase.
Okay, for the intermediate phase, we have teaching subjects like we have 4 options. We have mathematics, social sciences, natural sciences. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that for mathematics you have your maths 40% if it's pure mathematics. For maths lit you have your 60%. Then for social sciences, either history or geography. For natural sciences, either life sciences or physical sciences. I'd left out one option, alternative that you have, which is life orientation, which doesn't have a specific requirement in terms of the subject requirements. So basically, once you are offered a place when you get to do your first year, when you go to second year, that's where you choose your options. If you are interested in teaching natural sciences, you take that route, but you need a second option like what you have indicated, which is slightly different to foundation, because you need to teach all the subjects that are offered at grade R, grade 1, and so on.
That's right. So there's another question that says, are you going to finalize any application without paying application fee? Do you want to take that one, Zoe?
Yes, I'll do that one because we dealt with this quite a bit last year. But essentially, if you're unable to pay the application fee, all you need to do is send an email to info@sun.ac.za and explain your situation to them, and they will consult with you further regarding that situation. So there are cases when you are exempted to pay the application fee. However, you do need to notify the relevant parties involved, which the general queries station, which is info@sun.ac.za.
Okay, so there's a question about being able to transfer, and I think there's more than one, being able to transfer from another faculty, for example, engineering, or someone has done a BSc to education.
Okay, I think I'll take that one. So over the last few weeks, we have had a few inquiries related to that. So if you want to transfer from engineering, accounting, or any other faculty, you just go back to the entry requirements. Do you meet the language requirements of the Faculty of Education? Most probably you were accepted by the Faculty of Engineering and they didn't consider the language requirement. So you need to do your application, then you send your email so that we have a look at your results and so on, so that we can guide you accordingly.
Okay. For those people that have just come in quite late, and I see lots of questions about when will you hear from the university after you've applied. I've mentioned before, I think expect, if you don't meet the requirement, I think that will be quite early, but expect by September, October to hear from the university. There's another question about, if I apply to foundation and intermediate phase, will I only be accepted into one? I hope so. Yes, and I think this is actually a good question. You need to make a decision about, are you interested in working with smaller children, or would you prefer children that are about 10, 11, 12 years old? Are you interested in working with children where you're going to focus on, you want to specialize maybe in geography and history? Are you specifically interested in life orientation and teaching those subjects? You need to think very carefully. Let me ask Zoe. Zoe's a foundation phase student. Zoe, why did you choose foundation phase?
To be honest with you, Ags, education was a calling at the end of the day, and I knew for a fact that I am centered around little kids. The older ones I'll leave for the intermediate based teachers. But I just have such a passion for working with little kids, helping them to develop those little small skills, to find their potential, and to just have someone to support them along the way. So essentially, it's passion driven at the end of the day, for a very short answer. But yeah.
There you have it, class of 2024. It's a calling. Then Zoe talks about passion. You have to be driven to be a teacher. So maybe just to take this opportunity just to talk to the parents, we just need to encourage our children to make their own choices. I'm a third generation teacher in my family, but it doesn't mean that I have to force my kids to be teachers. We have had students in the past that ran out of steam, if I can say, during the course of the program because they were forced by the parents. Yes, we are there to guide them, we are there to support them, but let's allow them to make the final decision. Like what you heard Zoe saying, that it's a calling, that she has passion. So we need students who are passionate about teaching. Just imagine you end up in a grade R class and you don't want to be there. So it's just an appeal. Let's encourage our kids to make the final decision. We advise them, but we don't force them.
So thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the questions. We've really appreciated it. And I do want to say that we've been rated the second best faculty in the country. That's us. We'd love to have you. I'd love to be teaching you maths education. And hopefully your dreams will actually come true. And you'll be able to join us. Yes. Take care and have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
All the best as you write your exam.